evening, citizens. You're now trapped in a nerd cage with your hosts Mark and Jay. We hope you have a smashing good time.
Hello and welcome. That's right, you're trapped in NerdCage Live. This ain't just a reaction show, but a debate show and a live discussion on everything that makes people, you and I tick. So thank you for joining us tonight. I am your co-host, Jay St. G, coming to you live from Syracuse, New York, and always with me, my man, The Fiend from Louisville. Mark, what's shaking, boss?
Hey, what's going on, man? Super excited to be here as usual. I wanted to start off right off the top today by talking about a movie that you and I both saw over the weekend.
Yes.
I just
Thank you for that recommendation.
Yeah, absolutely. I found this movie by accident, and only because Harry Potter himself, Daniel Radcliffe, was on the cover, and just figured I would try it out, and it definitely did not disappoint. And that movie is Guns Akimbo.
Yes.
I did not know what to expect from this movie. But it definitely looked like just a thrill ride, just something absolutely fun to just kind of check out and just have fun with. And it was that, absolutely. And
yes,
I kind of just wanted to see, what you thought of it, knowing that you also watched it.
Okay, well, again, just for the record, I never even knew about this movie, never even heard of it. And when you pointed it out to me, you're like, hey, you gotta watch this movie. And I found it on Amazon Prime, and I did. And I enjoyed it. Now, listen, it's not a great movie by any means. It's one of those turn your brain off and enjoy the action. It's pretty, I mean, if you like stuff like Baby Driver, it's pretty like a stylish movie. It's almost got like a Robert Rodriguez tone to it, Edgar Wright, kind of that kind of tone, but it's really out there, and it's really goofy, but it is awesome. And the thing I loved about it was like the camera work and the cinematography. I mean, it was just awesome. The camera angles that they used, and the camera following, Daniel Radcliffe around, and just like, oh my God, it was tense. It was funny. It was action packed. It was obnoxious. Oh, it was a fun ride. It's a quick little watch. It's maybe 90 minutes long, if that. It's a lot of fun. It's out there, but it's just fun.
I agree, man. I really enjoyed it. I got notes of, watching this movie, I got notes of Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Also, a little bit of Kick-Ass, a little bit of, some of those types of movies that are not super grounded in reality, but it doesn't really matter because the action is just so awesome. I really like the fight choreography, especially with the character Nix. Who's actually hunting the main character, and it's absolutely crazy. It's just, there's not a whole lot of, verisimilitude or like realness in this movie as far as don't go into it for anybody that's interested in it. Don't go into this movie expecting, to see things that are really grounded in reality.
It's not realistic at all. Throw reality out the door.
Yeah, I mean, the premise itself kind of lets you know that, right? Like it's basically about an internet troll that kind of picks with the wrong people. They knock him unconscious. He wakes up with guns surgically attached to his hands that he cannot remove. Now we know there's no real way that could work. You know what I mean? So if you're willing to accept or suspend your disbelief with that part of it, I think that's a movie that can be enjoyed. I loved everything from the pacing to the music to the fight scenes to the effects. And I just thought it was a really good movie all around. I'm really surprised at how poorly it did. Right. So
I didn't even know it existed,
Right. I never heard of it. So, I didn't, I don't know if there was a marketing campaign for it or not. I know it was released maybe a week or two before the quarantine due to the pandemic. And so that could have affected it. But I was looking at the numbers, and we don't really know how much it cost to make this film, but we know that it had to have been over $1 million at least, right?
Yeah.
It grossed domestically less than $800,000. I mean, total, like, you know what I mean? Like, so, you know, and that's with VOD and everything. I mean, it's just unreal. Like, I haven't heard of numbers.
This could be a cult movie in the making.
It could be. It could be one of those slow burns that just like didn't do well in the theater, but
like you just mentioned, like Scott Pilgrim. Like Scott Pilgrim is now like a huge cult film, and
you know, it only took 10 years. You know,
and this, I hope this happens because this movie deserves to be watched. Because I mean, it's like I said, I'm watching this movie and I'm like, how did this one slip by me? Like,
right. But digging into this film a little bit more, I noticed that there was a controversy attached to it, right? So the director, James Lee Howden, he actually was embroiled in sort of a Twitter war with people who were coming after a film critic. I think her name was Delara, I have it written here, Delara Elvier. And she had used a racial epithet in one of her private messages to somebody, and that message got leaked. So she got raked over the coals, and he kind of looked at the situation and considered it bullying. So he jumped in and kind of took it too far, and then he wound up bullying a bunch of people himself. And so as a result, there wound up being a campaign to kind of tank his movie. And so that might be one of the reasons. I don't know that that's really the main contributor, because we've seen this kind of thing before. And even when, say, like you have negative reviews, a lot of like negative reviews on, say, Rotten Tomatoes or CinemaScore.
Long before the movie even comes out.
Yeah, people are still gonna go see it, you know what I mean? And like you said, with Rotten Tomatoes in the past, it's been, you know, people who have never seen it are able to go on and sort of write these negative reviews.
Yeah.
So I don't know that that's really the case. I mean, I think that it's probably more that, you know, with the current climate, you know, with the pandemic and everything that's going on, I think even at that time, people were a little risk averse as far as going to the movies. And with a movie that unknown with very little marketing, I don't think that he really had a chance.
Yeah,
that's my view.
I can second on that. I mean, I really got nothing else to add to that. I don't know if any more thoughts on? I mean, besides the controversy, any more thoughts on the movie?
I just say, you know, for people that are fans of, you know, just a lot of heavy action, a lot of you know, sort of sci-fi, I guess, but fast-paced action, kind of a lot of gunplay, a lot of like martial arts and that kind of thing. I'd recommend this movie. Yeah,
it's a hoot. No other way to put it. It's a hoot. Nothing, you know, nothing to like. You know, it's not a Citizen Kane. It's not even like a Die Hard. It's just it's a solid action flick. It's very stylized, and it's funny and it's entertaining. It's just, we recommend it.
And Daniel Radcliffe is
on Amazon Prime. It's on Amazon Prime. If you are a Prime member, it's there. Watch it.
Right.
Okay, so moving on now. We're a little bit late to the party because there's been so many topics in this past few weeks. This one did slip by us. We just didn't find the time to really focus on it. Now we figured we'd take the time to focus on it. You know, a couple weeks ago, unfortunately, Anil Moriconi, who is he's a famous composer. Now, I didn't really know who he was, the person, but I know his work. So I'm not gonna, you know, stand here and be like, oh my God, like I'm a fan of it. No, I'm aware of what the movies he's done, and I was looking at his filmography. But yeah, he unfortunately passed away. He's very well known for doing a lot of Western movies, in particular like a lot of Clint Eastwood movies. But I was looking at the filmography. He did dip his toes into horror. He did The Thing.
Right.
And he worked with Quentin Tarantino on Django Unchained and A Hateful Eight.
Right.
But where I want to zoom in, okay, Mark and I, if you can't tell by looking at us, we are diehard Metallica fans.
Absolutely.
And for the last 20 or 30 years plus, Metallica always used as their intro before they get on stage the finale, the finale of the theme of The Good and Bad and the Ugly. So that's where I want to just say my part that that's where he's really influenced. Like, how I know his work is because of Metallica.
Right. Well, I think he's influenced a lot of people, right? So you figure, you know, his career spanned about 6 decades, and you know, I was looking at IMDb a few days ago and kind of seeing his, you know, his composition count. I mean, he's responsible for doing 519 movie scores.
Yeah, that's amazing.
You know, when you think of a 60s Western, like a spaghetti Western, you immediately think of his music, because, you know, his music is pretty much tied to every Sergio Leone film, you know, a lot of the early 70s Westerns and 70s kind of gangster movies. You know, he did a lot of work with like Brian De Palma, and, you know, just over the years. I mean, he did the score for Cinema Paradiso, which is a huge classic, you know. So, you know, it's hard to watch really any major film over the past few decades and not run into something that he's attached to in some way. You know, I mean, he's arguably one of the most prolific composers in the 20th century and into the 21st century. And so
he never stopped.
Passing is very sad.
Absolutely. Like I said, all the Westerns you speak of, again, I'm going to reiterate the Metallica thing, the connection there, the Thing. He did some other, he did some odd ones too, not just Westerns and a little bit of horror there, but he did a lot of dramas. Did Lolita.
Right.
Like there's like some in there that you're like, okay, wow. So he's not just a Western guy. He's done other stuff too.
Sure. I mean, you know, like I said, he's one of the best known composers in Hollywood history. Yeah. And I would be very surprised if his name didn't come up in, you know, most conversations with filmmakers as they're starting to develop their films. Yeah. You know, like if I was a big director in the 70s or the 80s or even the late 60s, I would probably be trying to get him. And so regardless of genre, it's just his level of talent and his ability to score almost any style of film.
And Hans Zimmer is a huge fan of him too.
Right. I mean, think of the influence that, you know, that he had over some of the modern composers that we admire now, like Hans Zimmer and Tina Guo and some of the other, you know, big time composers. So yeah, like I was saying before, I really think that this is sort of a dark day for film in general, having him pass, because he never actually stopped. He never retired. He just continued to work. You know, so he will definitely be missed.
And off the you know, top of your head, Mark, what would you say? What is your favorite composition or movie film that he did?
Well, I mean, it's hard to think of Ennio Morricone without, like, it's hard to hear that name without hearing that whistling in, you know, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, right? Yes. So that's absolutely is my favorite, because it's, you know, it's definitely my go-to, you know. And I have found in the past just myself whistling that randomly without having seen the movie in a long time, just randomly like doing
it. And anyone who's been to a Metallica concert, as soon as the lights go pitch black and The Good and the Bad and Ugly finale comes on and you're just getting amped up, oh my God, it's just, it's just one of the best feelings ever seeing Metallica. I mean, they still put on a great show. They still, to this day, and I saw them a couple years ago, still use that composition as their intro, and it's just, man, you can't ask for anything better to get you hyped up at a live show.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a ubiquitous theme, you know. It's something that everybody knows. Everybody knows the connotation behind it. You know, it's one of the best composed lines in a song. Just that string of notes alone, you know, is so memorable that, you know, it's something that's, in my opinion, is completely unmatched. You know, just sort of shifting gears from that, you know, to something a little bit more something a little bit better as far as news is concerned.
Yes.
We got word about HBO Max taking on the show Gotham PD, which is going to be a spin-off of the Matt Reeves Batman films. So I wanted to kind of see what you thought of that.
I got a couple things, actually. I think it's badass that HBO Max is all in on a DC multiverse. That's pretty exciting. So we're going to get, it sounds like we're going to be getting more of Snyder's vision. We're going to get more, we're going to get Matt Reeves is still going to be able to, do what he wants to do. And, the Michael Keaton rumors out there too. My only concern is, it's not that I wasn't asking for Gotham PD. My only just a slight little concern is I did not like the show Gotham.
Right.
It started off good, and it got silly way too quick.
Sure.
And I'm actually baffled the show went as long as it did. I get it. It's a Batman spinoff, and it caught fire, but man, to me, I stopped after into the third season. I stopped completely, and I did watch the finale, and that was it. And I just have a feeling. My worry is that the stench of Gotham is going to be on this, Gotham PD show.
Right, and there are a lot of people that are very quickly making that comparison, right? Personally, I don't really see any connection with that. It's completely different showrunners. We don't know the premise. We don't even know if any of the central characters to Batman's story are going to be involved. We don't even know if Commissioner Gordon is a part of it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If it's going to be really, really hard to pull this. I think it's going to be hard to pull it off, but we'll have to wait and see.
Well, my first thought is
another thing too is what if the Batman flops? I'm just saying, what if? I'm hoping it's not. I'm hoping it's because I have faith in Matt Reeves based on his history.
Sure.
Well, what if like the Batman flops and and then what are they going to do with this show?
Well, like I said, there doesn't seem to be anything more than a tangential connection to Batman. He's probably not going to appear in this series. It's probably going to be kind of like, I don't want to make this comparison because I'm not really a big fan of the show, but Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where they reference the Avengers all the time.
Yeah.
But the Avengers never appear in the show. So they're just letting you know that this is a part of the same universe. And I think that with a show like this, my first thought is there's a comic book that came out probably about 20 years ago called Gotham Central. And that was primarily just about everyday cops and detectives that happen to work in the Gotham PD. Yeah. And it made mention of, some of the bigger characters like Commissioner Gordon and Batman and some of those people, but they really didn't appear in the comic. You're just seeing the inside of what Gotham is like and what it's like to be a cop in that city. I think they're going to draw pretty heavily from that.
Yeah.
The other thing is, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, and they also been pretty clear that this whole, Matt Reeves universe is going to be its own thing. It's not going to cross over with anything. So
yeah, it's not a part of the DC.
It's going to be a self-contained Batman story.
Yeah, it's not a part of the DCEU. If anything, like Matt Reeves is planning to do a trilogy. And as far as we know, we don't know like whether or not any of those characters from the trilogy are actually going to spill into the show. We don't even know like the time period, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We know that like the Batman is sort of going to be about Bruce Wayne's like origin as the Batman. It's going to be like his early days as the Batman, him becoming like this great detective and stuff like that. But as far as we know, Gotham PD might take place years after that, or might take place before that. It might take place when Bruce Wayne is still a kid. It might take place before Thomas and Martha Wayne are murdered. We don't know any of those deals. Any of those details yet. So until we do, it's kind of hard to speculate whether this is going to be a good or a bad deal for Matt Reeves.
Well, I just want to speculate on one thing, though. Now, Westworld.
Right.
Is Westworld still on, or are they finishing up, or are they... What's the status on Westworld?
I think I know where you're going with that. because Jeffrey Wright is on that
Yes.
show, and
Yes.
we know that Jeffrey Wright is going to be Commissioner Gordon in
Yes.
Matt Reeves' film. Is he going to be in this movie? I don't really know the details of Westworld. I've heard that this is the final season. I'm not a Westworld.
Oh, okay.
watcher.
Well, someone in the
I don't
comments
know.
know, because if Westworld is ending, you gotta wonder if the timing, if Westworld is in fact coming to an end, then do you think this is Jeffrey Wright's gonna be his next show, is being part of the series and the Reeves movie? I mean,
That would be a great thing if
Yeah.
that was the case. I mean, I think that you have a great actor in Jeffrey Wright.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
also,
I'm excited. I am excited to see his version of Jim Gordon.
it's an inspired take for sure. I think that he wouldn't have been the person that I would have immediately thought of, but when they announced that in
Yeah.
the casting, I was like, yeah, like that's your guy. He'd be
Yeah,
perfect.
no. I think the casting so far has been pretty cool. Now I'm just wondering, like, and as when we're not going to repeat it, but how much of this cast is going to spill into this other show, we don't know. Now, with it
Right.
being on HBO Max, now here's another thing: with it being on HBO Max, and this is, I was talking to one of my buddies about this. If, let's just say, I don't think they're going to do it, but it'd be cool if they did. If the Batman happens to be rated R, which I am all for. I am all for an R-rated Batman movie.
You're all for like the rated R comic book movies. Like
here's
you always
why.
bring that up.
I know I do, but the thing is, Batman's a dark character. It's a
Sure.
violent character. Gotham City is supposed to be like a shithole of violent crimes everywhere, and like, I would love to see. I think Reeves should go for the hard R. And if this show's gonna be on HBO Max, HBO Max is, the HBO shows are pretty, hard R's, So,
I get what you're saying, but I honestly think that's the wrong approach as far as like writing a series, right? So like you really shouldn't just go into it and be like, we have to like push the envelope and go R. Like I think your focus should be writing a good story. Like that's the thing that matters. You know what I mean? There are plenty of like films that were PG-13 or just PG that are beloved films by most of them.
No, I agree with you there.
And it really doesn't have anything to do with the rating. I get what you're saying. Like you want to see like a more adult themed series,
yes,
right? But that's not going to mean anything if the writing isn't there. So I don't really care about the TV rating, whether
it's just fun to
Batman.
speculate though, because if you're looking at the signs are pointing, that the possibility is certainly there.
Sure.
Going to happen.
I mean, and you have Terrence Winter as the showrunner. He did Boardwalk Empire. I don't know if you ever saw any of the episodes.
No, I never got around to
of that show. That was a great series. I mean, it came out like in the early to mid 2000s for HBO. I mean, it was a great show, and that was a little bit more TVMA also. So there's good indicators that that's where they're going.
Okay, we'll see.
But honestly, as long as you have good stories, you have great acting in it, whether or not it sort of blends in with the the Batman films going forward, as long as like you have those components in place, I'm all for it. I'm here for it. So
okay. Well, speaking of hard R series in the superhero realm, The Boys Season 2 is on its way,
Yes.
September 4th, and we got a kick-ass teaser trailer. Oh my god, am I amped up for The Boys Season 2.
yeah, that's gonna be great, man. Like I'm really excited.
Oh my
for
gosh. Like, I'm really strongly thinking about so September 4th falls on a Friday. I am thinking about taking time off from work and just binge all season 2 in one day and just go all in. I'm so excited. The Boys was the most unexpected great shows to come out last year, and I didn't even know about the comics, never read the comics. The only reason why I knew about it is because I was one of those people that shows up at the movie theater early. And if you go see a Regal movie, they usually have like commercials and upcoming events and this and that. And Amazon Prime had a sneak peek of The Boys, and
Right.
I'm like, all right, I'm in on this show. And then I watched it, and I never shut up about it. I told everybody at work to go watch it, and I got my friends into it, and then how it ended. So the ending was just mind blowing, and the acting it was just so dark and gritty and guts and tits and like everything was everything about the show was great, and it's funny and when season 2's been done filming for a while now. They finished filming like before 2020, and they had some teaser images up like back in December.
Right.
But we're all like, and we all speculate, well, it's probably gonna come out. Season 2 is probably gonna come out in June, and then of course we all knew what happened after that, and then just the post production took longer, which understandably so. As far as I'm concerned, take as much time as you need to make this season as good as the first season.
Right.
And I'm excited for these new characters, Stormfront. And I just can't wait to see where the direction the show goes in. I'm sorry if I keep ranting, Mark. And one last thing I'm going to say about that trailer is that that Billy Joel, We Didn't Start the Fire. I personally hate that song, but that song fits so well in that damn trailer. I recommend everyone needs to see this teaser. It doesn't really show anything. I mean, there's a little clips here and there, but there's nothing spoiler in there. And I cannot wait. Okay, I'm done.
Well, that's a lot, man. That's a lot to unpack, but I agree with most of everything you said. So, I too am super excited. I loved season 1. I think you have like a fantastic cast, including Carl Urban, Jack Quaid. Like you had some really heavy hitters in there that didn't disappoint, that were absolutely great. I'm not a big reader of the comics myself, but I enjoyed the pacing and action in it, the irreverence, and I'm like you. I'm very eager to get started watching season 2. I do have some bad news for you though.
Yeah. So
it came out a few days ago that Amazon is only going to release the first 3 episodes on September 4th.
Oh my God!
That,
you just killed me.
Yeah. After that, it's going to be.
You were waiting for that dagger in the heart, weren't you?
I was holding on. Not because I wanted to, because I was like, how do I break this to Jay? Because I know this is going to be.
You never told me.
Yep. So I was like you. I thought it was going to be like a binge-worthy kind of a thing. Like immediately September 4th, we could watch all those, in their entirety. But I think
Amazon Prime never does that.
Right. Well, I think that they're seeing what some of the other streaming services are doing. So, HBO traditionally has been a weekly run kind of a deal. Hulu is starting to do that, and they're seeing some long-term success with that, right? Mm-hmm. Because it makes a lot more sense.
I understand from a business
about your show for a couple of months as opposed to a weekend, and then you run the risk of people just canceling their subscriptions.
Yeah,
you have less of a threat with Amazon Prime because most people pay for that yearly, but.
Yeah, that and they want the free Prime delivery. That's why I got it in the first place.
Right. Well, I got it primarily for the video, because I really like the original shows. I like a lot of the films that are on Prime. But yeah, that aside, I think that they're seeing the success that comes with this water cooler talk. You think about shows like Game of Thrones, or Watchmen, or some of the shows on Hulu like Handmaid's Tale that are
Mandalorian.
Right, Mandalorian. Yeah. It makes a lot more sense, for them to do it that way. Even though it kills us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, now I'm gonna have to go into work then.
Right.
I was looking forward to taking the day off and watch all 8 episodes or how many episodes they're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll have to go into work and then I can just come home and watch the 3 episodes. But
you could wait until October and then watch them all.
No. I need to watch. I need this show. Okay. I need to watch it. Okay.
Yeah,
I guess. Okay, I will say this though. I mean, as much as it sucks, as much as you threw that dagger right in my heart, Mark. Well, someone would have said something. I'm sure someone would have told me. But the thing is, at least they're giving us 3 and not 1.
Right. So, and that's the thing. At least they were nice enough to give us 3 episodes. That we can at least binge and talk about for a few weeks, and then then we start.
We're gonna talk about.
Right.
Probably more for a live stream. Not a recorded stream, for a live stream. We'll definitely have some, the boys discussions for sure.
Yeah, actually, I'm really looking forward to seeing what you all think of it. Me personally, I'm really excited to see Giancarlo Esposito in his role here. I think that he makes,
like I said, the loaded cast.
Yeah, he makes every show that he's a part of better. You know what I mean? Like Breaking Bad was already good, but when they introduced Gustavo Fring, they took it to another level. The same thing with The Mandalorian. I know that you haven't seen it, but he plays a very important role in like the final arc of that first season, going into the next season, and just his presence in it just elevates the show. And so I have no doubt that this season 2, having him in it, is just going to again take this to another level and make it that much better. So I'm all in. And I can't wait for September.
For all of those, listen, anyone who hasn't watched The Boys, or maybe you never heard of it, and I wouldn't blame you if you never heard of it, because Amazon Prime's not the greatest at marketing their original programming.
Right.
But for anyone who hasn't watched The Boys, you have a golden opportunity to watch it. Binge the whole first season before this second season drops. You have a golden opportunity. I'm not going to make fun of you if you haven't seen it, because there's a lot of shows I haven't seen. But I'm telling you, if there's any show that I'm going to pull your leg, you have to watch it. And I know there are people, I've talked to a few people who have, the superhero fatigue. This is not a superhero show, not like how you envision a superhero show. This is like the most anti-Marvel, anti-DC show. Here it's so, oh my God,
it's more of a send up of superheroes, if anything. It's like sort of satire. Like what if,
thank you.
What if like your job was to be a superhero and you just became disgruntled? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you have a PR department and you have people watching you, but what makes the show so great, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but these quote unquote heroes, they are assholes. They are the worst of the worst.
Most of them. Yeah.
But that's what gives the show a great dynamic, because behind closed doors, they are awful. And then when you got like the boys are the group that are trying to take them out and expose them, and it's just that whole dynamic and the dialogue and the violence and the way the show is shot, and it's like, it doesn't even look like a television series. It looks like a movie. The quality of the special effects and the cinematography is like, it's like if you're watching a movie. Like, oh my God! Like, I'm telling you, please, just I will tell you. You watch the first episode, you will be hooked. I promise you. Just watch the first episode.
Is it safe to say that this is your most anticipated show of 2020?
Absolutely. Without a doubt, because we already had the, Better Call. I'm waiting for the last season of Better Call Saul, but that won't be till 2021 or even 2022 at this point.
Right.
I think for me, The Boys and Better Call Saul are my two favorite shows that are on right now.
Right. Okay. Fair point. It's definitely one of my most anticipated. I've been waiting since that cliffhanger. Since that final scene of the final episode, I'm like, you have got to explain.
Yes.
We're not going to give any spoilers, but
we won't.
If they don't open on that scene and let us know what's going on.
And again, moving forward, we're never, as far as Mark and I are concerned, we're never going to spoil anything on a recorded show. But I am more than happy to do a live stream with spoiler discussions.
Yeah,
I am.
And we probably will do something like that once this airs. Mm-hmm. So that actually sounds like a lot of fun. I'm glad you done.
Yeah, and then everyone could jump in, and it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, right.
All right, so man, that was a load I had to get off my chest. But thanks for breaking my heart on the 3 episodes. But that's okay. we can get past it. But anyway, before we go, I just want to say thank you to everybody. We're having a lot. Thanks for everyone who came into the last week's test stream. We're gonna do one last test before we start really moving forward with these live webcast shows. But just thank you for everyone who's helping us with the channel and everything. We're having an absolute blast. So if Mark, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I mean, shout out to like pretty much everybody who has been kind of helping us kind of put this together. You know what I mean? Like, Mike Long helping us with our logo, and his friend Roy with the animation.
Matthew Farden with his lovely voice and his
right.
production
You know
for
what I
us.
mean? Like, shout out to some of the other channels sort of giving us advice and kind of helping, Matt from Monstrosities, like a lot of, other experienced YouTubers kind of giving us some feedback and some pointers, so, we couldn't do any of this without you guys, and we kind of hope to kind of take what you've given us and run with it and make the show better.
Absolutely. All right, so before we go, as I say to you always, we ask you to pretty please like, comment, ring that bell, spread this shit like syphilis. So to you, I say, from Louisville to Syracuse, to all of our friends and fans around the world at NerdCage Live, enjoy life, stay safe, and good night.
Sayonara.
Ooh, trying to get out of the nerd cage, are ya? Well, before you go, hit that subscribe button. And if you're really intrigued, ring that bell. Thank you for dropping by. Until next time, tell everyone you know about NerdCage Live!